Okay. Aired up the tires. I didn't air them up all the way, just because I'm not planning on going anywhere, and my thing is dead. But they seem to be holding air. I think I only put about 20 psi, and it died before I could air up that one. But I mean, they held air before, so they should, hypothetically, unless the dry rots got to them, they should hold air now. I was thinking, you either need to replace this fender or just screw it back in. Just something to where it's not doing that. I really don't think that keeping the doors in it, especially with how bad the rust is on that side, the amount of patching that you'd have to do to get, I mean, the doors are not structural right now. I mean, you can, like, there's not much holding, there's nothing holding that one in now. There's nothing holding that one in. There was nothing holding it in, and now this one's almost as bad. So I think doorless is the way to go with it. Which, I mean, for something that's not road, is not a big concern. It's kind of got that Jeep look. I think if I wanted to go with the Love exclusive route, it needs a new cab. The frame's fine, and from what I understand of the truck's lore, drivetrain is solid. I think the carb probably needs a little bit of a freshen up. It needed a little bit of a freshen up 9 years ago when it last ran, so it's definitely rough now. But I mean, I think I really think that it's worth holding on to, and I think either finding a cab for cheap, finding something to bolt onto it. I kind of toyed around with finding an old Civic or some sedan or something with the same wheelbase, and then finding a way to bolt that on. I think that would be pretty gambler-esque. Get a sedan look with four-wheel drive, manual four-wheel drive too. Like, it's not just four-wheel drive. It's a decent four-wheel drive system. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I mean, engine has about 86 horsepower. So you're not going anywhere fast. Now, because the frame's fine, hypothetically, if you wanted, you could do some switcheroo magic in small block Chevy. But I mean, then you're running into new transmission. Probably, I would assume that it's not the same as the small block. I don't know what transmission's actually in it, but you're probably running a new transmission, probably new rear end. I do know that the CV axles, not themselves, but the boots, were redone before it was last parked. So that's not something that I have to worry about. And I think the coolant system was flushed. It would need some sort of more permanent gas tank situation than that. I mean, it's even just strapping this down is better than what it has now. I was told that it had maybe this fuel line's just gone. So that's something to consider replacing. It's hard as a rock. But I was told that last it ran, or from what I understood, it ran a little bit rough because it may have been pulling some air through the line. So it probably needs new line. It needs a tank. it really needs a tank, something more permanent. I mentioned the seats. Gotta find something for that. I think, I don't know, something's, if this is going to live like I want it to, it's got to get something. Some stuff has got to get touched on before it's ready to do anything. I actually, when I was looking for Civics as just a throwaway idea, I found one for not cheap, but not inexpensive. And then because you're only using the body, you could sell off everything else, part it out. And then because you're not using the body off of this, you can pull it all off, try and sell it, or just scrap it. And, you could make at least some of your money back from buying the Accord. But realistically, probably not much. And the amount of effort that would go into putting the Accord on the frame is a little iffy. I definitely would consider just looking at finding a cab. There is a guy that I have found local that has 2 sets of front fenders, which this one's rough. It's got hole there, and then hole, sorry about the train, hole here, so 2 holes. But it is the best piece on the truck. But I found a guy that has both fenders, and like I said, we talked about this one. It's pretty bad, pretty rough, and he also has front grille and a hood with a scoop. Oddly enough, but that's just the sport version, and this is a sporty truck, for sure. So I could get that, all of that for about $400, which is a lot, but they are solid pieces. And there's no rust on them. The problem is finding everything else to match it. I'm not so worried about a bed. I wouldn't mind not running a bed, or just running this one and not caring about the rust in it, because it is rusty. This little bar here is not doing much, as you can see. But I wouldn't mind not running a bed or custom fitting something. It's mostly just the cab. The cab is the problem, and whether or not you want to try and patch it again or just replace it. Now, replacing it obviously is going to be easier, but it's not necessarily the cheapest option. And it, especially if you're trying to properly patch it and patch it in a way that would last, because there's not much, especially there's nothing that I can do about that. But it's just, the cab's just gone. There's not much that you can do, even if you're an experienced welder. Anyone will tell you that there's just not much to weld to. You're just not dealing with much metal on the cab at all. But the frame, like we said, is solid. It is surface rust galore, but solid. From what I can see, that's not covered in spiderwebs or mud, but it should be. It should be fine. I definitely have plans to do something with it. At least get it running and driving around for a little bit. But I don't plan on just getting rid of it. It was given to me by my great grandfather, who bought it from my dad, who bought it as a high school off-roader. Hence partially why it's just covered in rust. It just wasn't meant to be back on the road ever again. And it will never go back on the road. It's what I'm planning is just getting it back into let's take it off-roading condition. It'll never be back on the road. I don't even have a title for it. So, I mean, unless I trusted the frame enough to put a new cab and all that on it and get a bonded title, I'm not really planning on putting it back on the road. I don't think it's safe enough to go back on the road, even with time and money put into it. I think it's just going to be an off-roader. Maybe get it to the point where you could put a bonded title and then you wouldn't have to tow it wherever you were going. But that's about as much as I would trust it. Just being what it is, especially as it is now. But I don't think you can put enough effort into it to make it to the point where it's road legal. Even though, technically, where I live, you don't have to do emissions testing. That was all ripped out of this truck. And you don't have to do safety inspections. I don't think this is a car that they intended to get registered with the removal of the safety inspection. I don't think they were planning on people taking these out. But I guess technically, if you wanted to kill yourself or somebody else, you could register it, get a title, register it, and drive it around. I just wouldn't. But that's about all I can do for today. Just slight walk around. I plan on coming in a few days with gas and a battery, just to see if I can get it started. I know for a fact that carburetor is going to be a pain in the butt, but I think that it may not idle, but it'll crank over with an actual battery in it. It was trying to with the battery starter that I just bought and never charged. So it wants to live. I just have to give it the chance. But that'll be it for this. I guess I'll see y'all in a few days where I come and discover that this thing is gone. Or just I catch it on fire. Something like that. But, yup.